And welcome back. We are continuing our season. We are getting unstuck. We're moving forward. We're getting momentum. All of those good things that are moving us off our butt and into the new year, getting more productive, getting products out there, and all of that kind of stuff. This is the Building Better Developers podcast, Developreneur podcast. I am Rob Brighthead, one of the founders of Developreneur. Also, one of the people that is not stuck right now, because we're about to dive into part 2 of our conversation with Dustin. We're going to talk ERPs, we're going to talk CRMs, we're going to talk AI, we're going to talk a lot of letters, and we're going to put them all together, and we're going to have a great time doing so. Before doing that, also, I happen to be the founder of RB Consulting, where we help you with a technology reality check. It's so much what we're talking about this episode is sometimes you really need to understand where you are before you get off, jump in your car and go off on vacation. If you don't have your bags packed and you start going, you're going to have some issues with that. Good thing and bad thing. Good thing is after a long winter, spring is here. I'm seeing nice weather. I've seen the sun. It has been sometimes the seasonal stuff is just, you really got to have that kind of season. Sometimes it's like we do it in work, we do it in, life. It is sometimes very nice to be moving on to that next season. The bad point, a bad thing that I've been running into lately is, I'll just go there. The world is falling apart. News, just you should come listen to this more often, because I go to these other places and I hear news and it's just depressing. People out there we need more happy people. We need less angry people. We need more love, less hate. I know it's all foo-foo and all that kind of stuff. It's not going to be one of those kind of podcasts. You'll find out very soon, because Michael's quite the hater that we're about to talk to here, but I kid. It's just seasons. I'm ready for a new season there as well. I'm also ready for my season of introduction to be done and Michael to introduce himself.
Hey everyone, my name is Michael Malash. I'm one of the co-founders of Developreneur, Building Better Developers. I'm also the founder of Envision QA, where we build and test custom software that eliminates your bottlenecks. That way your business can run smoother and grow faster. Good thing, bad thing, we are getting into better seasons here in Tennessee. The weather's getting better, starting to get out again, and starting to enjoy the outside more after being cooped up for months on end. Literally couldn't leave the house for 2 weeks due to ice. So yes, weather's finally nice. We're able to get back out in the world and enjoy things. Bad thing, agree with you, Rob. I'm back on the news fast. I am trying to avoid anything negative out there right now. The world is just a crazy place, and I'd rather just go outside, watch the birds, and enjoy the sunshine, and enjoy talking to our guest here.
And that is a cure for all that ails you, is just come here on a regular basis, hang out with us. We're going to have some fun. Yes, we are going to complain a little bit. We're going to show some bad stuff that is like projects gone bad and stuff like that. But it's not near as bad as what it could be. And we're going to help you find ways through it, which is where we're going to go with this conversation. Is Dustin's got some great, really, he drops a lot of really good, points through last episode and this one about how to tackle what honestly is one of the bigger challenges businesses face these days. I don't know how many times ERMs, ERP solutions have been a huge problem for a company, that it's cost them way more than it's supposed to. It has not been successful, and it really is a solvable problem. And that's part of what we're talking about here, and how to make sure that if you're part of one, that you can do your best to get your ducks in a row and ensure, or at least very much improve, the odds for your success. So let's just pick up right where we left off, and here we are back with Dustin.
So you've already kind of touched on using AI. For smaller businesses and even the larger companies with the legacy mindset, what are some of the things that you would recommend to help them get their ducks in order before looking at these bigger systems, the CRMs, the ERPs, to figure out their data? How would you get started to even understand this? Because, if you're a startup, you're an entrepreneur, you might be a tech guy, you might be a sales guy, but you don't have all the pieces to put the business together. What are some of the things that would you recommend to these people to get started?
Number one is assessing what the problem you're trying to solve is. The old saying, People don't go to the store to buy a drill bit. They go to the store to buy a hole. And the drill bit is just the way that you get the hole. Like understanding what problems we're actually trying to solve and making sure those are documented and that you have complete alignment across your organization on what problem you're trying to solve. We want to increase our customer retention by 20% this year. Like that's a real outcome. That didn't have anything to do with software, but software, technology, adopting some of these tools can absolutely be the driver for why you can increase your customer retention rates. So understanding what the problem is and making sure that the entire organization has alignment on what that is. To me, that's really number one. And number two, building a great team internally that will be supportive of that kind of education and creative thinking. You don't want to build a team internally that is responsible for technology initiatives, but they're adverse to the new technology. Like what? Why would we want to build an entire team of technologists that are scared that AI is going to take their job as a developer? I mean, that seems silly to me. They should be embracing and understanding how that affects their organization and really starting to put processes and things in place to do things like vibe coding. I mean, that's an entirely different subject, but you got individuals now that are literally vibe coding apps that solve business problems, and technologists are resisting that. Why? Like, we've got to be embracing of those kinds of things and creating processes and procedures that enhance the user's ability to do it. So making sure you've got teams with the right mentality, in my mind, is key. And the third thing is never let a project go more than 90 days. I think you should live in a 90-day world. And this is something, Rob, you mentioned it earlier, but like ERP projects are notorious for taking years to complete. And here's the bad part about that. Can you imagine a business having the exact same goals for multiple years? All have different, like every quarter, you've got a reset of what their plans are as an organization, what their strategic initiatives are, and the software never can get done because the business is constantly changing and evolving. Not only that, but ERP systems are known as the CFO killer for a reason. Like, most CFOs don't survive an ERP implementation. I don't think it's because they're doing anything wrong. I just think it's because ERP systems take so long to implement. You're hitting people's career, their longevity at a company anyway. And so if that's 1 or 2 years and ERP systems take 1 or 2 years, well, statistics say that they just won't be around. So I kind of combat that a little bit, like, oh, it's the reason why CFOs are getting fired. I don't think that's true. I just think that they take so long. So living in this 90-day world, there's something mental that happens to our goals after 90 days. They get stale, priorities shift, business changes, economies change every 90 days. Like, there's different cycles that we get in every 90 days. And so I just think making sure you've got smaller chunks of new technology initiatives that can be delivered in a 90-day window is so important. Like, if you can't deliver it in 90 days, it's too big. So break it up, do something smaller, get adoption, and get the ball rolling internally is so important.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that being why I feel like that's a lot of why Agile was embraced to the level it was, is because it really forced stuff into smaller bite-sized chunks.
Yeah.
And yeah, that is a perfect example. I don't know how many times I've been in these ERP projects that, like, they start out okay and you get like second quarter, third quarter into it, and now you're referring back to stuff. You're like, why did we decide that way? It's like, oh yeah, because the business was different then. I don't know how many times I was in one that went long enough. It went through 3 different consulting companies that were part of it along the way, and every time they almost had to reset because they would go back and have to re-interview people because processes had changed, people had changed. It's a moving target. So you have to get something to just say, okay, we can't get it all in one bite. Let's get draw a line in the sand. Let's aim for that, get that, declare success, even if it's moderate success, and then move on to the next step. So at least you've got something to build on instead of constantly resetting.
It builds momentum too, right? I mean, it just,
yeah,
absolutely does.
That's like, yeah, that's our theme this season. That's like a perfect one. It really is one of those things that you get that win. And especially I think, and I'm going to ask you, I wanted your thoughts on this as well, because especially CRMs, but then more so like when you get into ERPs and that, where it touches everybody, it touches their daily job almost across the board. And doesn't it feel more like just getting any win helps the internal resistance a little bit, because now people are like, it builds a little bit of trust for the ERP group?
Absolutely, it does. I mean, that kind of confidence building. I mean, people hate change. People hate change. It's human nature. Like we like our stuff where it was yesterday, where we left it. My children are notorious for this. I've got a couple of teenage sons that never can, and I like it because they like tools and they like to go do crafts. And my son the other day was out building a ramp and doing some other things that he likes to do, but the tools never go back in the same place where they were before, and I can never find a screwdriver when I need it. That is frustrating for me. Is that a big deal? No, it's not a big deal, but it's one of the most frustrating things in my life because I don't like change. I don't like stuff not being where I put it. And so I think there's just that part, especially CRM, because you're dealing with a different kind of personality. Most of your users of CRM systems are sales and marketing. And customer service to a certain extent. And most of your ERP users are accounting and warehouse and back office staff. And so there's different personality traits that come along with that. And man, I just think the sales and marketing personalities specifically are resistant to system change. It's in their DNA to be able to be more creative and be more structured in the way that they do things, and they just like to get in and do their job, and without someone moving their cheese, so to speak. So I think change is a part of it. We got to make these things exciting too, like throw a party, like do some go live events, doing some excitement around these projects are key, and pulling everybody in, making them feel involved as a part of this. As an example, like throughout the project, issue a project newsletter that puts photos of people working in a conference room together, and the video calls that we're all on, designing something on a virtual whiteboard, like whatever you can pull together, screenshots of the new system that they're going to get and how it's going to improve their life. I think we miss the marketing angle of software internally as well, making it exciting and trying to break down that resistance to the systems. We got to bring people along for the ride and make them feel involved as a part of these projects.
I think that helps with the training side of it as well, because then you're sort of like, you're sort of piecemealing it along the way. So now people have a little bit better idea of what to expect when it hits their desktop and they start using it. Like, oh yeah, I saw that on the newsletter last week, or the little training session we had, or the brown bag session we had. So I 100% think that marketing, and it really, I guess that is what it is, but it's also like training, and it's also just due diligence, making sure that the people are going to use it know how to use what it is you're building. Now, you mentioned earlier, and I want to swing back around AI. One of the things that haven't actually asked here yet, any of our other guests, is one of the things I'm seeing is with AI, RFPs and project proposals and things like that I'm starting to see entrepreneurs and business owners use AI to basically say, I want to build X, or I want to solve problem Y. And they go to AI and say, well, how do I do this? And it gives them a nice little laundry list of like, here's all the things you should do. Now, I think we all know, especially all those people in the audience that are technologists, is you'll get stuff that's like, go build this app out of HTML and this CSS and this language, when it's like, well, no, that's not really what it was supposed to be. But the guts of it are there a little bit. Are you seeing that that's starting to spill over into some of these CRM and ERP conversations a little more, where you're almost getting like an AI question effect? So to me, I would think you're getting better interviews up front, because now it is essentially educating the people that are involved a little bit more about what they're getting into.
It absolutely is getting better. I mean, I can remember responding to RFPs as soon as 2 years ago, where you would see silly requirements like, We want a user-friendly interface for creating good customer experience. Like how am I supposed to implement a system or tell you what that's going to cost? Every one of us have a different perspective of what user-friendly and great customer experience means. And literally that would be requirements listed because someone's trying to think of what they want and they're trying to write it down. Now we're seeing real requirements that come out. I think there's a danger the other direction because of course people are using LLMs to write some of these requirements, and they're much better because of it. I think letting the systems help us design systems is a very good thing. I think we can go the other direction too, though, where people aren't even reading or validating what the artificial intelligence is saying. They're just dropping it into an RFP. It was funny. We seen one the other day where literally they were asking for a module. They didn't know it was a module, but it was an SAP module that they listed in the RFP. Well, this was a Microsoft RFP. And so we went back and we questioned the procurement desk because they don't know, right? I mean, a lot of these decisions are being run by procurement departments and based on requirements that they downloaded or chat GPT'd into some template. And so we asked them, we're like, did you mean that you wanted to implement an SAP module with a Microsoft ERP? Like, that's possible, but why would you do that? And the response back was actually no, that was a mistake. We shouldn't have put that in the RFP as a requirement. We all know exactly what happened there. There was a hallucination in the chat GPT, and it went and found some HR module and plugged it in and thought that would be a great solution when, of course, it wasn't a part of the overall business strategy. So there is context that these tools have to have. And I think that's where, to drive it back to something that I mentioned earlier, knowing what your outcomes are as a business is the most important thing to have. LLMs now can absolutely build a great RFP or a great set of requirements as long as it knows what your outcome is. But if you don't even know what your outcome is, or every stakeholder in the company is different in what their outcome they're expecting from the tool is, then the requirements are going to be just as bad as they've always been. Only now they're going to be confidently bad, and that may be worse than unconfidently bad the way it used to be.
Yeah, I ran into one the other day, which is another. This is like a warning to the wise. It was somebody that had built, from the start. They'd obviously built this whole RFP out, and they had towards the end they had some questions that were assessment questions for people that were responding. They want to be able to assess like the level of the people that were going to be the respondents. But the problem is, and they were great questions. They were overly detailed questions and things like that. So it's like, this is a bit much for an RFP. You're almost making me give you the solution as part of the RFP. But the funny thing is that they forgot they copy and pasted a little bit too much. And then right beneath that was the same questions and it said, this is what you should expect. This is what they need to make sure they touch on in the answers. And I'm like, you gave everybody the answer key. That's not really going to help you too much.
And then, of course, everyone used ChatGPT or another LLM to respond to those questions, yes. Which, I'm not sure how much value this is all going to add.
There is some of that. Those are actually interesting. I've had those conversations myself where I'll get an email that is obviously AI and I'll respond in an AI and then it'll go back and forth a couple of times. And at one point, I'm like, when do we become just useless and we'll just let the AI talk to each other? They'll just go figure their stuff out and say, yeah, this is what we need to do. But, it is.
More time in Portugal is what it sounds like, Rob.
I am not against that. But I think it really gets to your point, and something we bring out a lot is understanding your why, understanding what it is you're actually trying to do. And I think this is where it sort of comes back to full circle to where we started, is that you get people that they understand their business, they understand that they've got some problems, but they don't really fully understand it. They need somebody, they don't understand sales enough or HR enough or IT enough or finance enough or some of these pieces, and they just aren't able to put all the pieces in place. And AI doesn't fix that. If you ask it questions and you don't tell it, by the way, this is Microsoft, instead of an SAP, it's going to give you, it'll hallucinate, but basically it'll just give you whatever it pulls off the top of the deck. It's not going to go vet that. So I think those are just a lot of excellent points there. This was really, it's really neat. It's sort of a timely topic to have something that's so complex, but it also, I think, more people can relate to it these days down on the AI level, because we've all done some, simple write an email or something like that and seen it go off the rails. And I think it's becoming more, I think we're all learning a little bit to become more sensitive to the details of how to define a problem and where to go from that. And sort of in the last, sort of as a, and because we're running out of time now, but it's sort of as a closing it up. Based on how you've seen things progress, is where do you see this going as we step forward in the years ahead? One of the things, as an example, I saw somebody's like SaaS may disappear because all these vibe coders will be able to just custom code everything. So do you see maybe that we are switching, the pendulum is swinging back to more of a much more people doing their own custom thing, as opposed to the SaaS apocalypse, basically, that we've had for the last 10 to 15 years?
I think that's very possible, because it is easier now than it has ever been to release a new piece of software that solves a very specific business problem. I think the challenge with a lot of that is going to be, integrations between systems are still, it's not as easy to vibe code those kind of solutions as it will be in 2 to 3 years, I'm sure, maybe sooner. But the integrations between the products get more complex the more bespoke solutions you start launching. And so I think there's a challenge there that comes as a part of this that someone needs to solve, and maybe there's some people smarter than me that are already working on that kind of integration technology where you could vibe code system integrations between software products that it may not have any idea what the two endpoints have any mirroring of them. It can determine what the right mappings and write the data transfers and some of those other things. So I'm positive that that's coming. I think what's more likely in the short term is we're going to see a lot of people that are moving into bespoke add-ons for core platforms. So you're going to get lots of people vibe coding their own Microsoft Business Central, F&O, SAP, Oracle, NetSuite. All of those products all have their app store. We're going to see a lot of vibe coded apps that start coming out for these platforms. And so I think it's going to be hard for somebody to get to the point where they're vibe coding an entire accounting system. Not impossible, but it's going to be difficult to get to the point where you're going to go sell a CFO that they should use this company that just started last month because they've got this cool vibe coded thing, even if it's just as good. I don't want to minimize the quality. I think the quality could be there, but I think confidence level, it's going to be really hard to get adoption and somebody to sign off on putting that as the backbone of business operations yet. So I think having add-ons that are created by AI and vibe-coded add-ons that fit into a core product and solve a very specific vertical need, but still using your big four players as the backbone of the ERP and CRM systems, I think that's absolutely going to happen. It probably already is happening with a lot of these that we don't even know about.
I want to thank you for your time and for just diving in with all of this. We have failed to mention that you've got a book called Reboot, an executive playbook for rescuing ERP, CRM, and digital transformation projects from disaster, which I think everybody in the audience has run into one of those in one way, form, or fashion. What is the best way for people to get a hold of you if they're now like, oh, this sounds like a guy that I want to learn more about, or check out the book?
Yeah, you can get the book on Amazon, and I would encourage everybody to take a look at dynamicconsultantsgroup.com, which is the company that I founded 12 years ago, specifically doing this type of thing for organizations. There's actually a health assessment that we do on our website. You can find a link at dynamicconsultantsgroup.com, and it gives people the ability to walk through a free health assessment of their CRM and ERP platform to be able to find out where they're benchmarking against their peers. So it's a pretty cool tool. You can also reach out to us directly on that form as well to be able to get in contact with somebody to do a deeper analysis. Or if you're looking to explore a brand new project, certainly would be willing to have some conversations and help out in any way that we can.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for your time. We're going to let everybody else pencils down. You can stop taking notes, and we will be back with continuing. Yes, and we're now doing our weekly challenges. You'll have that, but then right after that, we'll be back into yet another interview and just continuing challenge, striding our way through the season and trying to get some forward momentum going and trying to make sure that we start the year on the right foot. As always, go out there and have yourself a great day, a great week, and we will talk to you next time. Now, for the bonus, sort of this our after the show bonus stuff, we do a weekly challenge these days that we try to every day, just you're thinking like developers and entrepreneurs is a challenge for them to do in the next 7 days, something related to what we've just talked about. And so I was wondering if you've got something, and I'll give you either or. If you've got something you're like, this is something that I think every business owner or even side hustler that you should do, that would be a great challenge for them. Or if you've got something that's just not even a challenge, but just a lesson learned that you think you would like, that would be awesome to pass on to everybody. I'm going to put you on the hot seat for a little bit and let you share that.
I love it. We mentioned the surveillance, performance, excellence, and automation before. So we call it SPEAR, surveillance, performance, excellence, automation, leading you to the right roadmap or the results from your project. So SPEAR. I would encourage everybody to write down your top 5 business processes. We hire people, we ship products, we sell widgets, we build widgets, and we purchase components for the widgets. Whatever your top 5 processes are in your business, and list out where you currently are. Are you just in performance? Do you not even have the data to know where you're at with that core process? Do you actually have your performance? So you have surveillance, performance. Are you at excellence? In other words, everybody's doing it the exact same way every time. Or are you all the way to automation? It's fully automated. Nobody, even the company, even really has to worry about that core process. Where are you at today, and where do you want to go in the next 90 days? I want to move us from surveillance to performance. And the way I'm going to do that is by making sure I have all of the data that I need in the same place. It could just be an Excel spreadsheet for now. Just get the data and make sure it's being updated every week. Those kinds of things. Where are you at today with the top 5 processes, and where do you hope to be in the next 90 days? I think that'll really shed a lot of light for organizations to be able to assess where they're at in their digital transformation journey.
Yeah, that touches on something I've said many times, that sometimes the technology you need to solve your problem is just like pencil and paper. You just need to start. Sometimes you're not ready to run. You need to be able to just get yourself onto the bike without falling over on your side at this point. So appreciate it. That's an excellent challenge out there, an excellent task. I love that. I think it's a great way. I think all of us, regardless of what our business is or where we're at, that we can think through that. And honestly, even if we work for somebody else, I think that's a great thing to think about. What is my organization at? What do I know about my organization and where they live and their maturity? So thank you so much for your time. I'll let you get back to your day and enjoy your Kansas City weather there. And hopefully it will get better, and it will. It'll be hotter than you can stand, I'm sure, within another couple of months, because that's how it is there.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Rob, Michael, it was really good to meet you today. We appreciate everything.
Yeah, thanks
pleasure.
a lot. If there's anything we can do to help you out, let us know. And have a good one. We'll talk to you again soon.
Hey, thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.